This hidden arc told through Jax, clumsily asking a profound question, is too deliberate to be an accident, but so invisible to the normal eye that it must have been written through symbols, unconsciously. Let's go through everything chronologically so you can attempt to form your own picture. Then I will share my interpretation and connections. Included in mine will be the primal and savage nature of humans, the simulacra over-socialization causes and the digital circus, the alchemical Eros, nature's synthesis. And I will answer your question, Amazing Digital Circus, and I apologize and wish you the best. This is not for kids. If you don't have a strong mind or will, you might want to leave around minute 4. Checklist of this tiny arc, told through symbols. Jax, from the digital circus, one of his adventures is being a hunter. Jax gets turned vegan by his peers in a vote that contradicts its own rules. Jax is afraid of corn. Jax is in a maid costume. Now, my interpretation. The digital circus is a simulacrum, just like overpopulation and over-socialization would cause you to be in one. Examples on that over-socialization example would be the Hood, where YN seriously believe it's a plane of opportunity, or Joe Rogan's whole bubble, elephant graveyard video. And the digital circus is a simulacrum, except unlike caused by over-socialization, it's caused by its digital messiness. From that, Jax, coming from the human world, naturally wanted to return to the Eros, the energy that governs life, described by goofy 1800s psychologists briefly rediscovering alchemy, or 1900s. The Eros is exactly what it sounds like: dirty, erotic, savage. It is sex and killing and eating directly from the corpse. One of Jack's adventures was to hunt, to be a hunter, and return to the primal normalcy of human life. He runs on his horse and chews on rhino gangle. Now, this adventure was voted to be skipped, an option Kane gave the cast. They voted Jax to be vegan. This isn't how the votes are supposed to work. This shouldn't be what they can be used for. I thought it was only for skipping adventures. This is a slight reference to a society that forms to live off the wild better, but then turns so efficient it can afford to start believing whatever, to begin establishing a simulacrum. Of course, this Western philosophy is limited. Manifestation and consciousness division wins. Anyways, let's keep going. Turned vegan, Jax is now afraid of corn, afraid of the power of the belief that can be implanted, that you can shift your consciousness just like that. Also afraid of the control others have over one, social norms. But it gets darker, and now the darkest hour of the secret plot has formed. And as a precursor, let's talk about veganism. The vegan is trying to avoid a part of the circle of life, the savage Eros, that's inevitable, killing and consumption of corpses. And now, why would you want to escape savageness? He now gets voted to have a maid costume. Darkness has arrived. Mouse Utopia, a mean experiment where a scientist put some mice in a prison-like environment and gave them abundant food. Population soon skyrocketed to overpopulation. Male mice started fighting, eventually evolving into psychopathic killing gangs. Female mice, if any still got pregnant, would kill their children. The last generation had a third type, mice that would obsessively clean themselves, over-grooming, avoiding any Eros activity. Certain bubbles in real life mirror this mouse utopia, feminism, American psychopaths, but for this hidden arc in Amazing Digital Circus in particular, soft boys, Korean idols, femboys. I'll try to be fast to prevent you from thinking about this and going on a path of suffering, but at the end becoming a real beautiful woman. Oops, sorry. Or you can embrace and work with it, being an aghori. A bridge can be built from both sides, after all. Aghori thrive on darkness like this. Now we can apply this to Jax in the maid costume. But obviously this isn't all. The question isn't yet asked. What tipped me off and might unlock this for you? The corn. Charlie Chaplin quote, "Life is a tragedy when seen in close-up, but a comedy in long shot." Guess what corn is? 1, 2... Everywhere in the digital reigns of YouTube. Come on, we all know what grape means in these shoddy drama videos. Corn is the internet slang for porn. And now we are at the question of the Amazing Digital Circus. It goes as follows. Why does the overgroomed, originating from over-socialization, voting and simulacra, skipped, hunting, Eros, the ones who are supposed to be so eternally clean and impossibly careful about their cleanliness, maid costume, how can they possibly participate in what's supposed to be Eros, savage, dirty, animalistic? They are supposed to be scared of corn, scared of the Eros communality in nature and all that's alive. Basically, in altogether, how is femboy porn possible? Yeah, it sounds like a meme, it sounds mean, but it's a clumsily honest dark question, and I've got your answer, unconscious superintelligence of the writer that constellated this question into existence using unassuming symbols. It's identity. Porn nowadays is all identity. It's because as a civilization we are so successful. There's a misunderstanding you have. It's about the simulacra. You didn't know that we always divide our consciousness, and that any civilization simply amplifies that. I'll put it in another way. You assumed a simulacra was an exception to a real world, when in reality consciousness division happens always. Porn is all identity. The natural order of the world quivers in comparison to the story we can tell ourselves. The human monster ego can wrap around everything. That's why femboy porn is possible. It's all identity. The world comes neatly wrapped in identity. Again, the natural order of the world quivers in comparison to the story we can tell ourselves. And maybe just end the video there. You can think of the rest yourself. Lastly, I will mention detachment, though. That's a nice hack. What did you think it was gonna be? You didn't seriously assume just because it had bright colors and lots of kids watching that it was a kids show, right? It's based on I have no mouth and I must scream, for God's sake.
All appeared as a beautiful exhibit of the species, with keen alert eyes and a healthy, well-kept body. These mice, however, could not cope with unusual stimuli. Though they looked inquisitive, they were, in fact, very stupid.
Oh, I totally missed that. At the end, the adventure ends. Bro, Jax notices he isn't a mate anymore, and neither are vegan. So, the message is actually upbeat, that the adventure will end, and we'll be relieved of the repression. Well, despite the question it asked, it definitely answered something in return. Corn constellates, assigned to the overgroomed, oversocialized of the Eros being everywhere. That trypophobia in episode 6 is the fractal nature of it. Psst. There's another theme. But I'm not a centipede and vanishing man. Well, whatever. It'd be a pain to cut this.